Hey guys, welcome back to BC Provincials. Here we are in the top 4. We're going all night long. This isn't a 2-day event. We're doing this whole thing in one day. We have 7 rounds, top 8, top 4, and the finals. We're currently in the top 4. I'm with Kenny Wisdom. This is brought to you in Brookspark by
TopGutCentral.com. You can use the coupon code BUBBLE to save 10% on your order. TopGutCentral.com carries Pokemon singles, sealed product accessories, other games, board game things. If you need some Kyogre EXs or Mega Primal Kyogre EXs, feel free to pick those up.
So he's the pitch man, I'm the hype man. We have a great top 4 matchup. It is Chase Moloney playing Seismitoad and the Crobats. He's taking on TJ,
Traquair, I assume.
Who is playing Primal Kyogre EX along with, I believe, Keldeo and Plasma Kyurem. Pretty crazy deck. Holy smokes. Like, would you expect to see Kyogre in top 4?
I would have expected to see Groudon more than Kyogre, and I didn't really expect to see Groudon.
This is interesting. He has Shauna right off the bat going first. Let's see. This is...
So he attaches, drops a Shauna.
I believe the original, that one, I'm not too sure what the basic does. I know what the Primal does. The Primal is insane. So the Primal has 240 HP, and its growth ability allows you to attach 2 energy cards, so you can legitimately attach both a water and a DCE to this thing if you want to. Has 240 HP. It's weak to grass. That's not going to be an issue. And then the big attack is for 3 water and 1 colorless. It does 150 damage, and you can move 2 energy to one of your benched Pokemon, and it does 30 damage to all Pokemon EXs on your opponent's side. So Chase is going to have to watch out with those Seismitoads. That 30 is really good if he can get multiple Tidal Storms off. It sets up all the Seismitoads for knockouts. Start here. This is a decent start for Traquair, or for TJ, excuse me. Although now Chase did roll heads on a laser, so...
I'll lock him down for a bit.
I mean, it's really interesting to see what Chase's damage output's going to be in this matchup. He has the bats, and he has the lasers. These Primal Kyogres are a beast at 240 HP. If he can... What I would like to see Chase do is get this lockdown as soon as possible. We saw TJ did not get the Spirit Link down on either Kyogre on turn 1. This opens up a bunch of different options. I know Chase is running Headringers, I believe?
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, if he Headringers those, that's going to have to be a turn that TJ is going to have to waste to evolve because he won't have that. He might also just get item lock this turn, and okay, so we have a Stellar Guidance right off the bat. This is no bueno. 90 damage. So with 90, there's a lot of different things that can happen here. The Plasma Kyurem can knock this thing out.
Yeah, TJ's deck has a lot of snipes, so
yeah.
The Jirachi is definitely not something that Chase wanted to play, and you see just his plan was to just super scoop it up there. Chase does have multiple copies of super scoop up, so hopefully he can get it out of harm's way before it gets knocked out. There's also something you can do with the Seismitoads, you know, kind of maybe lure TJ into a false sense of security via the spread damage and then just scoop him up.
I imagine that we're going to see a rush in here. Oh no, wow, it just Mega Evolves, turn ends. So, crazy enough, next turn, no matter how he does it with a DCE and a Water Energy, or with 2 Water Energies, he can potentially just start attacking with Primal Kyogre on turn 3, and he can move 2 of those any 2 energies rather, so he can also move a DCE if he attaches it to any of his Pokemon. This sets up a really interesting dynamic. So with Tidal Storm, however, they have to be the same Pokemon. This sets up a different thing. If he can't get, for example, a second Primal Kyogre up, he can just move them both to the Keldeo. He can move 2 waters to the Keldeo and set it up for a 90 damage Secret Sword. You know, that's enough to KO the Jirachi that's on the bench. So TJ has a lot of options with this deck. It's not as linear as it might look.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's so hard because these decks are sort of just opposites. Like Chase's idea is I'm going to play this side that has a really cool effect and kind of not the best damage output, but I have Crobats to like mess with that, and I can, you know, start winning the game in different ways. And I think that TJ's idea is just like, I'm going to do 1,000,000 damage. I can protect my energy by moving it to different Pokemon, and like TJ can very easily do 150 next turn.
One thing that I'm wondering is if TJ runs Rough Seas, that can potentially...
He does.
Okay, so I don't even know... It sucks because you don't want Verbank out, but at the same time, like, letting your opponent benefit from you know, taking the 30 damage off of the Seismitoads is also huge.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I hadn't thought about that interaction.
So,
I imagine that the rough Z still favors TJ because he's doing so much more damage on average than Chase is.
I would imagine so as well. I think what's important here is that just he gets his energy placements right after he does Tidal Storm, if depending on what he attaches it to. Like, pretty much, if you attach it to the Keldeo, like, you're guaranteeing yourself a next attack. If you attach it to the Kyogre, for example, you know, he might not be able to get up a second Primal Kyogre. The Shaunas are really interesting. I'm not sure. I had this discussion earlier today about what was better, Shauna or the new Professor Birch from Primal Clash. So Shauna's a guaranteed 5. Whereas Professor Birch is shuffle your hand into your deck, flip a coin. If heads, draw 7. If tails, draw 4. So on average, you're going to net 5.5 cards.
Yeah.
So over the long run, that's a slightly better card. But I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. Like, the Shauna, you know, it's worked for him. He's in top 4, so I don't think we can question anything that he's done.
I mean, I don't know. Like, the math clearly works out to be in the Birch's favor.
This is huge right here, too, because it's going to do 150 to the Toad, and he's just going to try and set up another Primal Kyogre here. So he's going to do 150 to the Toad and 30 and 30. So the crazy thing here is with the right cards, such as he's going to be item locked. But if he can find 2 more Water Energies and a Lysander, he can take 4 prizes off of 2 Seismitoads. That's insane. So Chase is really going to have to hit super scoop-ups.
There's a Getsus for 2 cards.
Is that now he's in top deck mode.
Yeah, that was his entire hand was 2 items. He just put those 2 items back into his probably 40 card deck.
Yeah, 40-ish.
Actually, there's 17 cards in play.
And the interesting thing about Chase also is, like, he has to know where he wants to put these skill dives and all the Crobat damage. Like you talked about earlier, this is a very skill-intensive deck, especially in a matchup like this. I mean, you imagine Chase played probably a lot of top-tier decks, but he probably didn't play a deck anything like this. So against the top-tier decks, you can kind of go into autopilot mode with where you know where the damage should be. But in this, especially with Primal Kyogre having 240 HP, like, you really have to be on top of your math game.
Definitely. We see Chase get the knockout
Oh
there.
my gosh,
wow,
huge.
TJ responds with the top deck.
And 2.
Juniper.
Oh my gosh, and 2 Water Energies. Oh, but no Primal Kyogre in play.
Yeah, just the basic there. Gonna go ahead and attach the Spirit Link.
Wait, did Chase play?
Yeah, he knocked him out with Grenade Hammer.
Okay. Wow, so he is going to be able to attack and knock out this Seismitoad here.
Yep, it's a pretty big game.
This is huge right here. He can just move these energies if he wants. He doesn't even have to move these energies. No, he does, because the attack does require him to move them. But at this point, where do you move them to? Do you move them to the Keldeo and just try to hope for a Jirachi? Nope, he is just sticking with the game plan. He's going right to the Kyogres. This is such an exciting matchup. Like, I'm so happy that we're seeing not another Seismitoad mirror, for example.
Yeah, no, Seismitoad mirrors are not.
And he just has 2 more waters in his hand. He is just ready to go. It couldn't be better for TJ right now. This is a really strong start for him. If you're Chase, what's your game plan now?
Your game plan was probably to hope that your opponent doesn't draw a Professor Juniper off the top of their deck.
That was
in the situation that you're in now. I mean, I guess you. So you're in a rough spot because I think you just basically have to set up a fresh Toad.
Right.
Because if you promote the other Toad's going to get knocked out, and actually you'll lose the game because the Jirachi will also get knocked out.
Yes.
So you just have to let this Golbat get knocked out, and maybe, I don't know, hopefully set up another Toad here, let your opponent take a prize and them down to 3, but you also are breaking.
He drew double water. This deck is intense. But the lock is on, and he wakes up, so this is going to be game, I believe. He's just going to slam the 2 waters and take 4 prizes here.
Yeah, that's just game. Chase actually, I guess, with the Primal Kyogre being asleep, he's just had to kind of go for it there.
Yeah.
He doesn't really get anywhere by just letting TJ take Crobat prizes and, you know, just take more prizes and sit back on a Pokemon. And so Chase made a risky play that didn't work out for him, but I don't know that there was a very clear path if he didn't do that.
I mean, everybody all day long has just asked me, how do you beat Seismitoad? How do you beat Seismitoad? I mean, TJ has found a way, it looks like. Like, this deck is very strong. We just saw a 5-turn win. Was it 4 or 5 turns? But that was quick. Like, I questioned his ability to get up Primal Kyogres under item lock. I questioned, you know, this might be a slow deck. You would really have to, I thought you would have to draw into water, but apparently he's playing a sufficient amount of water energy. I would have to imagine the count is somewhere up over 10, between the area of 10 and 12.
Well, that's why I think the matchup is so bad, is just because, like, as I said, the Kyogre is just doing 150 every turn. Like, assuming you get it set up, but, like, the chances of getting Primal Kyogre and a 4 energies in your hand over a few turns is not, is probably at the same probability of hitting a Seismitoad plus DCE plus muscle bands and things, you know, like, Chase's deck is not, like, Seismitoad is not an aggressive, powerful card. I mean, it's powerful, but it doesn't have high damage output. It's built around, like, doing tricky things, and the Kyogre deck is just built around doing the maximum amount of damage. And you see that Jirachi really cost Chase as well.
Yes.
Obviously, starting with a supporter and just not playing whenever is going to cost you the game too. Yeah. But those 2 super scoop up flips that Chase missed were huge. The other thing to remember is that there is there's a game that happens in some universe where TJ, instead of drawing that Juniper, draws Floatstone, and then he draws Muscle Band, and then Kyogre Spirit Link, and then Dive Ball, and it loses the game. Like, that definitely was the key. The key there was that top deck Juniper with no cards in hand.
I mean, I don't necessarily, you can say that, and I agree to an extent. However, I think my problem with that train of thought is he set up extremely fast. He's in the top 4 with a deck most people wouldn't even consider playing, considering that Genesect, considering that Leafeon, all these grass Pokemon are in this format. You know, playing anything weak to grass is a fairly risky play. And obviously Toad has its weaknesses too, but it has a lot more ways to deal with things like that. Whereas TJ's deck seems a lot more straightforward in the sense of, I'm just going to draw into all my energies and I'm going to hit my Spirit Links. And,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the deck was a great call for this metagame. Literally 0 Genesects, very few Leafeons, a lot of Seismitoad. I think this matchup is bad. I think that the Kyogre versus Seismitoad matchup is definitely favored to Kyogre. I just think that it's important to look at that game as, you know, that one turn of explosiveness. Obviously, he did have a good setup the whole time, and he could have recovered from that, but there's just a world where he doesn't. Yeah,
the Jirachi is probably, like, what I would like to see in Game 2 out of Chase is just trying to...
Well, Chase passes without a supporter, too, just a water energy attach and a pass.
I would have liked to see a head ringer there for sure.
And now TJ is considering whether to Juniper away 2 Lysanders, maybe 3 Lysanders, 2 Ends, and a Primal Kyogre.
Wow, he's going to potentially let Chase get back into the game right here with an N.
I don't know TJ's Versus Leaker count. I wasn't casting the last game. But if he plays, like, I see one he just revealed while shuffling, I think I might just slam the Juniper there. You're getting rid of a lot of stuff. Don't get me wrong, it's not a clear-cut play. But Chase just passes with nothing, and I think that you can really... You saw last game how capitalizing and getting ahead early
I mean, Chase wasn't trying to bait him with anything there. It's not like, you know, certain decks where you can bait Candy and not play a supporter. Like, there was no reason for Chase to do that.
The other thing to consider, though, is that TJ does know that the matchup is favorable, and so he may just not want to be taking any risks, you know? Like, you can say, like, okay, well, I'm just going to play the N and just act like Chase had an okay hand. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to reset his stand and play a fair game, which I believe I can win, rather than take a risk.
The triple Lysander is crazy in this deck. It's funny, because TJ actually showed me this list way earlier in the day.
Why, did Chase not have a supporter? Wow, after the N he didn't have a supporter, just no punishment for TJ there. There's a water. There's a Kyogre Spirit Link.
Wow.
I think. Oh, I guess he didn't have a Spirit Link. My apologies. There's the Primal.
So we do.
There's a Laser Heads. Chase is drawing nothing. Play the second Seismitoad, and I think just getting ready to pass the turn. Wow.
This is... Stay asleep, however.
Stays asleep. Attaches uses ability. And now we're just going to go ahead and Shauna.
So he is not under item lock right now. So the reality is Keldeo Floatstone is pretty much the nuts right here, folks, for you poker fans.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you can just tell by the body language right now, like TJ's shuffling fast, he's excited. Chase, you can kind of see slumped down. It's unfortunate because, you know, even if this does end up being TJ running away with this, like Chase Moloney just on a tear. Like people just the way they talk about him, you know, won Senior Worlds, you know, and then he transitioned perfectly into Masters.
Just step to the kid.
Yeah, he's
insane.
insane.
Like to say. Yeah, I think Chase is best player in Canada, not particularly close. Probably top 5 in the world. There's an argument that he's the best player in North America. Like he has a world's first in seniors, a world's top 16, a world top 8. He has his invite now. He's probably going to get a top 16 slot. Like,
how was the Kyogre able to attack? Or did we miss something crazy?
It woke up.
Oh, it did wake up? Okay. That's a big scoop up right there.
Yeah, that definitely matters. I don't know.
It's frustrating, though. Does he re-bench it, though, and just get hit by 150 next time? And this is actually crazy, too, because TJ has yet to play a second basic, so he doesn't even have to move those energies, so he doesn't have to worry about being item locked and not drawing into retrievals or not being able to draw into water energies.
He does have, I think there's a dispute about that poison damage. He does have to worry about just like, oh, I guess he's a computer system. Hey, never mind. He has what he needs. He just happened to have not played a basic, and now he's just gonna ship the turn.
Wow. So.
At this point,
is this Blastoise? Like, there's 6 energy on a Primal Kyogre right now.
And now if TJ does have the computer search, so he can, I assume, well, he has a Juniper hand as well, so I think he'll probably play the computer search, get, I guess, just a, I guess he could get a Lysander and take the knockout on the but he's probably just going to get a Kyogre, play, oh, he would a Keldeo, actually.
Yeah. This is actually a pretty smart play, too. He's guaranteeing, okay. This is Russian and retreat to
Heal
clear
the
the poison.
And then he's going to do 150 this turn and have the 150 on board for next turn with a fresh basic Kyogre waiting in the wings.
I think that it's just intense that he never once thinks about putting those water energies on the Keldeo. Just straight up, like, Kyogre's my boy. Like, that's
ooh, and there's a Tails. It's a big one. 0-6, just going to go ahead and pop the Floatstone off and ship the turn back. Chase Moloney has not played a supporter this game besides the 0-6.
Is this...
And there's a Lysander. Wow. That's insane. The top deck from Chase Moloney was a super scoop up.
Eric
he has to go for style points. Super
he has
scoop
to
up.
move to oh, he did.
No.
Wow.
So Chase Moloney wins with style, or loses with style. Super scooping his last bench Pokemon, and TJ Traquair, I'll ask him in the interview, wins in the top 4 in a total of what, 10 turns?
Yes.
It's just complete dominance, and there's there's 2 Seismitoad decks in the other bracket, so TJ just might have this whole tournament.
This is one of the most insane decks I've ever seen. This makes me an absolute believer as a fan of all things water Pokemon, water Pokemon are the reason I'm commentating with you today. I am such a fan of this deck, having never seen it played, having been shown it and was like, oh, cool, have fun today. Have fun, good luck. And now he's in the finals with this insane deck. I'm so happy to see that.
Well, I'm going to go grab TJ. It'll probably be a while before the finals. We're having a Toad Mirror in the other match. I'm going to go grab him for an interview, and we'll be right back.
Sounds good to me, buddy.